How's everyone today? Eh. Eh. So how many? 10:35 to 10:53. Tommy! Hi! Eh. Is it called? Yes, it was that one. Woohoo! So yes, go and support them. Whoa. I feel cold today. Oh yeah. I am actually, I'm actually pretty okay at the moment. Um, Trying to just relax after my exam was done. So yeah, yeah, exactly. Thank you. Um, well, I was just far away from my mic. That was the reason I was not that loud. So yeah, um, it was because I was fixing my toe I just stumped today. So yeah, yeah, that's what you call a bad job. Apparently, gravity was too much, so I couldn't get my feet enough off the ground, and then my toe stomped. Yeah, shit happens. Oh yeah, and I got a C on my exam. Yeah. Um, it's over. I could probably have done better. So, but to be honest, I didn't really put that much energy into it. Oh yeah, and I got my new Bon cup today. Eh, that's not fair. Where's my phone? That's my phone. Here. So the one I got for myself um, is a 20-ounce teacup. Are you scared of me spilling the tea here? And if you want your own bonbon teacup, you can go to my store and get one. We have the Royal Guard Toomey. We have the Danger Bonbon. Which is Earthling. And we also have a lot of stickers. And yeah, we also have the Kingdom one. So you can get your own with either the Kingdom Crest, the Toomey Royal Guard, or the Book Bun, or the Earthling Danger Bun. That is the 4 cups we have at the moment. But there is a lot more in there. So go explore if you want to. um, I think that was like 20 orders before I could order that. So if 20 people want them, I can look into it. Because I think I needed to pre-order them. What's drops? What, come in? Long time no see. But that's because you start with an S. Yeah, shit joke. I know. Oh yeah, I want to see something. How close are we to 500? We are 2 away from 500. So, if we get to 500, I am gonna give away a Bonbon Cup. I hope you feel better soon, Strobes. I really do. Here. Mm. All products. And it will be either the 11 or 15 ounce Bonbon Cup. Yeah, that's kind of fluffed. 11 or 15. Earthling. 16 ounces. That's like 1.8 liter. Oh my god, you too. Yeah, I did everything but take it till today. I almost got my bedroom cleaned. I got my living room cleaned and I got my kitchen cleaned. And that is a big thing for me. Oh my god, everything. Oh yeah, everyone. Remember, I also have my YouTube where you can always catch up if you have missed something. Wow, Sika. Wow. I got thrilled. Hi. Imagining bullying a sick person. Wow. Mm, 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 mm. Oh, for fuck's sake, Strops. I trust some of them. I have 3 Americans in my stream at the moment. Yeah, I do. First you have Earthling, then you have Toomey, and then you have Strops. At least what I know of. Oh yeah. Oh, LOTR is also American. Sorry, Sika, but the European people lose at the moment. It's 1 against 4. Wow, 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 wow. Take it, chill, Strops. We are not taking over Greenland right now. Or anything in Panama. So, chill. Chill, chill. Well, at the moment, uh, more or less. You can at least come and visit. But it's kind of hard to get into Europe. And why would I shoot you, Earthling? Why? I don't know if that can happen, though. That would mean you would have to get a job, and you would have to, yeah. What the fluff you mean? We do not shoot people just for the sake of it. It's another case if we talked like 1200 years ago. That's another case. No, only like 85 years ago, give or take. Oh my god. Well, to be honest, Drops, probably the easiest way to get into Europe is by finding a job in southern Europe, like Spain, Italy, France, um, Austria, something like that. Why would I say smuggling? Are you damn nuts, Earthling? Yeah, I know Spain and Italy and France is probably the easiest to get into. Of course, if you if you have learned the language. But in all takes, you have to learn the language of the country you go to. Oh my god, this is turning so dark. Jin, hi! everything in here is just turning dark at the moment. Yeah, exactly. It's nice when it can be loving dark comments. Well, if you are American, haven't you by now lost your virginity? At least to the government or the companies? Well, they are at least fucked if the world ends. But I'm not sure if they're more fucked than now. But yes, 35 to 58, that's 25 pages. Okay. So here it comes. We begin now. Oh my god. Chapter 3, The Muster of Rohan. Hi, Mochi! Hi! Hey, I said I read for people, and I said I did it each Sunday on Twitch. But to be honest, I'm really not that big of a self promoter because, like, yeah. um, I do not like self promoting in other people's stream because I find it rude to do it. But yes, here I am with my bun bun cup. Hey, what? What? I didn't agree with that. Yeah, that's fine, Mochi. Earthling, or Jin, or Chica, or some mod. Please give Mochi a shout out. Thank you. I do have a couch. You're welcome. I'm enjoying being in your streams. Huh? What is this turning into? Earthling, are you trying to hit on Strops? So Earthling and Strops are gonna destroy my sofa. Okay, gotcha. But please don't destroy my sofa. I really like my sofa. Unfortunately, my apartment do not allow dogs. Sorry. My apartment only allows dogs for temporary visits. So, like up to 2 weeks. What the fuck do you guys think this is? A damn warehouse? Disguised as an apartment? What the fuck? Okay, I'm gonna start reading now. Chapter 3. The Muster of Rohan. Now all roads were running together to the east to meet the coming of the war and the onset of the shadow. And even as Pippin stood at the great gate of the city and saw the prince of Dol Amroth ride in with his banners, the king of Rohan came down out of the hills. Day was waning. In the last rays of the sun, the riders cast long pointed shadows that went on before them. Darkness has already crept beneath the murmuring fir woods that clothed the steep mountain sides. The king rode now slowly at the end of the day. Presently the path turned round a huge bare shoulder of rock and plunged into the gloom of soft sighing trees. Down, down they went in a long winding file. When at last they came to the bottom of the gorge, they found that evening had fallen in the deep places. The sun was gone. Twilight lay upon the waterfalls. You people are nuts. All day far below them, a leaping stream had run down from the high pass behind, cleaving its narrow way between pine-clad walls, and now through a stony gate it flowed out and passed into a wider vale. The riders followed it, and suddenly Harrowdale lay before them. loud with the noise of waters in the evening. There the white snowborn, joined by the lesser stream, went rushing, fuming on the stones, down to Edoras and the green hills and the plains. Away to the right, at the head of the great dale, the mighty Starkhorn loomed up above its vast buttresses, swathed in blood in cloud. But its jagged peak, clothed in everlasting snow, gleamed far above the world, blue shadowed upon the east, red stained by the sunset in the west. Mary looked out in wonder upon this strange country, of which he had heard many tales upon their long road. It was a skyless world in which his eyes, through dim gulfs and shadowy air, saw only ever mounting slopes, great walls of stone behind great walls, and frowning precipices wreathed with mist. He sat for a moment half dreaming, listening to the noise of water, the whisper of dark trees, the crack of stone, and the vast waiting silence that brooded behind all sound. He loved mountains, or he had loved the thought of them, marching on the edge of stories brought from far away. But now he was borne down by the insupportable weight of Middle Earth. He longed to shut out the immensity in a quiet room by a fire. He was very tired, for though they had ridden slowly, they had ridden with very little rest, hour after hour, for nearly 3 very days. He had jogged up and down, over passes, and through long dales, and across many streams. Sometimes, where the way was broader, he had ridden at the king's side, not noticing that many of the riders smiled to see the two together, the hobbit on his little shaggy grey pony, and the Lord of Rohan on his great white horse. Then he had talked to Theoden, telling him about his home and the doings of the Shire folk, or listening in turn to tales of the Mark and its mighty men of old. But most of the time, especially on this last day, Merry had ridden by himself just behind the king, saying nothing and trying to understand the slow, sonorous speech of Rohan that he had heard the men behind him using. It was a language in which there seemed to be many words that he knew, though spoken more richly and strongly than in the Shire. Yet he could not piece the words together. At times, some rider would lift up his clear voice in stirring song, and Mary felt his heart leap, though he did not know what it was about. I don't know what that is, but sure. The healthy yogurt plus eggs and sugar and something. That sounds so weird. All I'm getting from those three ingredients is some kind of cake. Oh, koldskål. That is not made from yogurt. That's made from buttermilk, eggs, sugar, vanilla, citrus. It's literally made from buttermilk. I have no damn clue. And if it's a Danish thing, I still have no damn clue. Is it something I have told you about before? Okay, that's weird. Yeah, I have no clue, Earthling. No damn clue. I'm so confused. If you figure it out, then please tell me. All the same, he had been lonely, and never more so than now, at the day's end. He wondered where all this strange world Pippin had got to, and what would become of Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli. Then suddenly, like a cold touch on his heart, he thought of Frodo and Sam. I'm forgetting them, he said to himself reproachfully. And yet they are more important than all the rest of us. And I came to help them, but now they must be hundreds of miles away if they are still alive. He shivered. Harrowdale at last, said Eomer. Our journey is almost at an end. They halted. The paths out of the narrow gorge fell steeply, only a glimpse, as through a tall window, could be seen of the great valley in the gleaming below. A single small light could be seen twinkling by the river. This journey is over, maybe, said Theoden, but I have far yet to go. 2 nights ago the moon was full, and in the morning I shall ride to Edoras, to the gathering of the mark. But if you would take my counsel, said Eomer in a low voice, you would then return hither until the war is over, lost or won. Theoden smiled. Nay, my son, for so I will call you. Speak not the soft words of Wormtongue in my old ears. He drew himself up and looked back at the long line of his men fading into the dusk behind. Long years in the space of days, it seems, since I rode west. But never will I lean on a staff again. If the war is lost, what good will be my hiding in the hills? And if it's won, what grief will it be? Even if I fall, spending my last strength. But we will leave this now. Tonight I will lie in the hold of Dunharrow. One evening of peace at least is left us. Let us ride on. In the deepening dusk, they came down into the valley. Here the snowborn flowed near to the western walls of the dale, and soon the path led them to a ford, where the shallow waters murmured loudly on the stones. The ford was guarded. As the king approached, merry men sprang up out of the shadow of the rocks, and when they saw the king, they cried with glad voices, Theoden King, Theoden King, the king of the mark returns. Hi, Key, hi! Then one blew a long call on a horn. It echoed in the valley. Other horns answered it, and lights shone out across the river. Good, Ike. I hope you have many carrots with you. Sugar, buttermilk, vanilla, eggs, and something called A38. That's not sugar. For fluff's sake, Earthling. It's vanilla sugar. So vanilla sugar, sugar eggs, buttermilk, and A38. Yeah, I've never seen that being used. Yeah, vanilla sugar. So it's basically vanilla mixed with powdered sugar. Um, but yeah, that's basically just Cold School. Even though that's kind of a weird way to make it. But who am I to judge? Anyone. But I haven't. That's definitely not a pick from me. Well, then we can make them into small pins and give to the soldiers of the kingdom. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Cold Skull, to be honest. It kind of fucks my stomach up. Oh yeah. But in general, most cakes I'm up for. Well, I think next time you just have to go with if you know where they are. Yeah, I sneezed before as well. And suddenly there rose a great chorus of trumpets from high above, sounding from some hollow place, as it seemed that gathered their notes into one voice and sent it rolling and beating on the walls of stone. That would be nice. I like that. Oh yeah, I have a new bunny game coming out. Or there is a new bunny game coming out in in just over a month, the 19th of February. The new bunny game is coming out. 19th of February. It's gonna be amazing. Oh yeah, Leo. Leo is doing some game coding, game development. Leo, I have two games I want you to make. So everyone, when the ads start, we are gonna take a break so I can make some more tea. Thank you, Aiki. Take care of the fields. And remember to do as Farming Bun Bun tells you. So the king of the Mark came back victorious out of the west to Dunharrow beneath the feet of the White Mountains. There he found the remaining strength of his people already assembled, for as soon as his coming was known, captains rode to meet him at the ford, bearing messages from Gandalf. Dunhere, chieftain of the folk of Harrowdale, was at their head. At dawn 3 days ago, Lord, he said, Shadowfax came like a wind out of the west to Edoras, and Gandalf brought tidings of your victory to gladden our hearts. But he brought also word from you to hasten the gatherings of the riders, and then came the winged shadow. The winged shadow, said Theoden. We saw it also, but that was in the dead of night before Gandalf left us. Maybe, Lord, said Dunhere, yet the same, or another like to it. A flying darkness in the shape of a monstrous bird passed over Edoras that morning, and all men were shaken with fear. For it stooped upon Meduseld, and as it came low, almost to the gable, there came a cry that stopped our hearts. Then it was that Gandalf counselled us not to assemble in the fields, but to meet you here in the valley under the mountains. And he bade us to kindle no more lights or fires than barest need asked. So it has been done. Gandalf spoke with great authority. We trust that it is as you would wish. Naught has been seen in Harrowdale of these evil things. It is well, said Theoden. I will ride now to the hold, and there before I go to rest, I will meet the marshals and captains. Let them come to me as soon as may be. The road now led eastwards, straight across the valley, which was at that point little more than half a mile in width.
Good Lord, it's a raid!
Oh.
Bunnies, take your posts!
Welcome in, Roses! Welcome in!
A new bunny just hopped into the library. Thank you.
Oh my god! Thank you! And welcome in! I hope you have had a great stream. Okay, everyone. Let's jump with all the raiders. Drop your favorite emote. Fuck me. There you go. Yay! Mine. Oh, nice. Me too. I like them as well. Here. I really like books as well. At the moment, it's I think it's Lord of the Rings. But I think my all-time favorite would be something like it's a book from the from Scandinavia. It's called Evil. Yeah, go get some food. And I hope the orchid was what you hoped for. But the book Evil is really a harsh book. If you can't take things like a lot of violence and and just like a lot of bullying, then no, don't read it. Yeah, Earthling, you did it! Woohoo! And we are one follow away from 500. Yay! So at 500, we are gonna do a giveaway for a bunny cup. No! I can't handle 12 hours. But yes, we are gonna give away a bunny cup of the winner's choosing. No, I can't. My voice will die. I would fall asleep after the first three and then wake up for the last hour. But yeah, if you if you want to read a book and can tolerate violence, then read Evil. Or for the Scandinavians, Unskon or Unscape. Uh, because yes, it's a very, very harsh story. No, certainly not. Um, but yes, we are gonna take 4 minutes of break, and then I'm gonna be back for the rest of the reading. So see ya in 4 minutes time. Bye bye. And we are back. And I have someone who wants to say hello. Hi. So yes, for all of the people who care, who have come in. Stop it. That was not what I wanted to do. This was what I wanted to do. And that one. If you do not, if you have not heard or read The Lord of the Rings, or if you just want to catch up, you can go to my YouTube channel because I have all of my streams up there. What is the good word? Oh, my feet. I don't get it. Oh, heat for my feet. It's nice. Oh, we do not have those anymore. If they come to your door, just say yes and then tell them what the word is, and the word is bye bye. That's at least what I would do. So, yes. On all the level spaces, there was great concourse of men. Some thronged to the roadside, hailing the king and the riders from the west with glad cries, but stretching away into the distance behind there were ordered rows of tents and booths and lines of picketed horses, and great store of arms, and piled spears bristling like thickets of new planted trees. Now all the great assembly was falling into shadow, and yet though the night chill blew cold from the heights, no lantern glowed, no fires were lit. Watchmen heavily cloaked paced to and fro. Mary wondered how many riders there were. He could not guess their number in the gathering gloom, but it looked to him like a great army, many thousand strong. While he was peering from side to side, the king's party came up under the looming cliff on the eastern side of the valley, and there suddenly the path began to climb, and Mary looked up in amazement. He was on a road the like of which he had never seen before, a great work of men's hands, in years beyond the reach of song. Upwards it wound, coiling like a snake, boring its way across the sheer slope of rock. Steep as a stair, it looped backwards and forwards as it climbed. Up it horses, could walk, and veins could be slowly hauled, but no enemy could come that way except out of the air, if it was defended from above. And each turn of the road there were great standing stones that had been carved in the likeness of men, huge and clumsy limbed, squatting cross legged with their stumpy arms folded on fat bellies. Some in the wearing of the years had lost all features save the dark holes of their eyes that still stared sadly at the passers by. The riders hardly glanced at them, the pugilmen they called them, and heeded them little, no power or terror was left in them. But Mary gazed at them with wonder and a feeling almost of pity, as they loomed up mournfully in the dusk. After a while, he looked back and found that he had already climbed some hundreds of feet above the valley, but still far below he could dimly see winding line of riders crossing the ford and filing along the road towards the camp, prepared for them. Only the king and his guard were going up to the hold. At last the king's company came to a sharp brink, and a climbing road passed into a cutting between walls of rock, and so it went up a short slope and out onto a wide upland. The Farian field, men called it, a green mountain field of grass and heath, high above the deep delved courses of the snowborn, laid upon the lap of the great mountains behind, the Stockholm southward, and northward the sawtooth mass of Eden Saga, between which there faced the riders the grim black wall of the Dwimmerberg, the haunted mountain, rising out of steep slopes of sombre pines, dividing the upland to their march a double line of unshaped standing stones that dwindled into the dusk and vanished into the trees. Those who dared to follow that road came soon to the black dim hole under Dwimmerberg, and the menace of the pillar of stone, and the yawning shadow of the forbidden door. Such was the dark Dunharrow, the work of the long forgotten men. Their name was lost, and no song or legend remembered it, for what purpose they had made this place, as a town or secret temple, or a tomb of kings. None in Rohan could say. Here they labored in the dark years, before ever a ship came to the western shores, or Gondor of the Dunedain was built, and now they had vanished, and only the old pugilmen were left, still sitting at the turnings of the road. Mary stared at the lines of marching stones. They were worn and black. Some were leaning, some were fallen, some cracked or broken. They looked like rows of old and hungry teeth. He wondered what they could be, and he hoped that the king was not going to follow them into the darkness beyond. Then he saw that there were clusters of tents and booths on either side of the stony way. But these were not set near the trees, or seemed rather to huddle away from them towards the brink of the cliff. But the greater number were on the right, where the Freenfeld was wider, and on the left there was a smaller camp, in the midst of which stood a tall pavilion. From this side a rider now came out to meet them, and they turned from the road. As they drew near, Mary saw that the rider was a woman with a long braided hair gleaming in the twilight. Yet she wore a helm, and was clad to the waist like a warrior, and girded with a sword. Hail, Lord of the Mark, she cried. My heart is glad at your returning. And you, Ewan, said Theoden, is all well with you? Num num. All is well, she answered. Yet it seemed to Mary that her voice belied her, and he would have thought that she had been weeping. If that could be believed of one so stern of face, all is well. It was a very road for the people to take, torn suddenly from their homes. There were hard words, for it is long since war has driven us from the green fields, but there have been no evil deeds. All is now ordered as you see, and your lodging is prepared for you. For I have had full tidings of you, and knew the hour of your coming. So Aragon has come then, said Eomer. Is he still here? No, he is gone, said Eowyn, turning away and looking at the mountains dark against the east and south. Whither did he go? Asked Eomer. I do not know, she answered. He came at night and rode away yestermorn, ere the sun had climbed over the mountain tops. He is gone. You are grieved, daughter, said Theoden. What has happened? Tell me, did he speak of that road? He pointed away along the darkening lines of stones towards the Dwimmerberg. Of the path of the dead? Yes, lord, said Eowyn, and he has passed into the shadow, from which none have returned. I could not dissuade him. He is gone. Then our paths are sundered, said Eomer. He is lost. We must ride without him, and our hope dwindles. Slowly they passed through the short heath and upland grass, speaking no more, until they came to the king's pavilion. There Mary found that everything was made ready, and that he himself was not forgotten. A little tent had been pitched for him beside the king's lodging, and there he sat alone, while men passed to and fro, going in to the king and taking counsel with him. Night came on, and the half-seen heads of the mountains westward were crowned with stars, but the east was dark and blank. The marching stones faded slowly from sight, but still beyond them, blacker than the gloom, brooded the vast crouching shadow of the Drimmerberg. The paths of the dead, he muttered to himself. The paths of the dead. What does all this mean? They have all left me now. They have all gone to some doom. Gandalf and Pippin to war in the east, and Sam and Frodo to Mordor, and Strider and Legolas and Gimli to the paths of the dead. But my turn will come soon enough, I suppose. I wonder what they are all talking about, and what the king means to do, for I must go where he goes now. In the midst of these gloomy thoughts, he suddenly remembered that he was very hungry, and he got up to go and see if anyone else in this strange camp felt the same. But at that very moment a trumpet sounded, and a man came summoning him, the king's esquire, to wait at the king's board. In the inner part of the pavilion was a small space curtained off with broidery hangings and strewn with skins, and there at a small table sat Theoden with Eomer and Eowyn and Dunhere, Lord of the Harrowdale. Mary stood beside the king's stool and waited on him, till presently the old man, coming out of deep thought, turned to him and smiled. Come, Master Meriadoc, he said, you shall not stand. You shall sit beside me as long as I remain in my own lands, and lighten my heart with tales. Room was made for the hobbit at the king's left hand, for no one called for any tale. There was indeed oh, poor. There was indeed little speech, and they ate and drank for the most part in silence, until at last, plucking up courage, Mary asked a question that was tormenting him. Twice now, Lord, I have heard of the paths of the dead, he said. And what are they? And where has Strider, I mean Lord Aragorn, where has he gone? Uh, the king sighed, but no one answered until at least Eomer spoke. We do not know, and our hearts are heavy, he said. But as for the paths of the dead, you have yourself walked on their first steps. Nay, I speak no words of ill omen. The road that we have climbed is the approach to the door yonder in the dim hold. But what lies beyond, no man knows. No man knows, said Theoden, yet ancient legend, now seldom spoken, has somewhat to report. If these old tales speak true, that have come down from father to son in the house of Eel, then the door on the Dwimmerberg leads to a secret way that goes beneath the mountain to some forgotten end. You. But none have ever ventured in to search its secrets, since Baldur, son of Brego, passed the door and was never seen among men again. A rash vow he spoke as he drained the horn at the feast which Brego made to hallow new-built Medusalt, and he came never to the high seat of which he was the heir. Folks say that dead men out of the dark years guard the way, and will suffer no living man to come to the hidden halls. But at whiles they may themselves be seen passing out of the door like shadows and down the stony road. Then the people of Harrowdale shut fast the doors and shroud their windows and are afraid. But the dead come seldom forth, and only at times of great unquiet and coming death. Yet it is said in Harrowdale, said Eowyn in a low voice, that in the moonless nights, but little while ago, a great host in strange array passed by, whence they came none knew, but they went up to the stony road and vanished into the hill, as if they went to keep a frost. Then why has Aragon gone that way? Asked Mary. Don't you know anything that would explain it? unless he has spoken words to you as his friend that we have not heard, said Eomer. None now in the land of the living can tell his purpose. Greatly changed he seemed to me since I saw him first in the king's house, said Eomer. Grimmer, older, fey I thought him, and like like one whom the dead call. Maybe he was called, said Theoden, and my heart tells me that I shall not see him again. Yet he is a kingly man of high destiny, and take comfort in this, daughter, since comfort you seem to need in your grief for this guest. It is said that when the Eorlingas came out of the north and passed at length up the Snowbourn, seeking strong places of refuge in time of need, Brecco and his son Baldur climbed the stair of the hold and so came before the door. On the threshold sat an old man, age beyond guess of years. Tall and kingly he had been, but now he was withered as an old stone. Indeed, for stony they took him, for he moved not, and he said no word, until they sought to pass him by and enter. And then a voice came out of him, as it were out of the ground, and to their amaze it spoke in the western tongue. The way is shut. Then they halted, and looked at him, and saw that he lived still, but he did not look at them. The way is shut, his voice said again. It was made by those who are dead, and the dead keep it until the time comes. The way is shut. And when will that time be? Said Baldur. But no answer did he ever get, for the old man died in that hour and fell upon his face, and no other tidings of the ancient dwellers in the mountains have our folk ever learned. Yet maybe at the last time foretold has come, and Aragon may pass. But how shall a man discover whether that time has come or not, save by daring door, said Eomer. And that way I would not go through. All the host of Moro stood before me, and I were alone, and had no other refuge. Alas, that a fame mood should fall on a man so great-hearted in this hour of need. Are there not evil things enough abroad without seeking them under the earth? War is at hand. He paused, for at that moment there was a noise outside, a man's voice crying the name of Theoden, and the challenge of the guard. Presently the captain of the guard thrust aside the curtain. A man is here, lord, he said, an errand rider of Gondor. He wishes to come before you at once. Let him come, said Theoden. A tall man entered, and Mary choked back a cry. For a moment it seemed to him that Boromir was alive again, and had returned. Then he saw that it was not so. The man was a stranger, though as like to Boromir as if he were one of his kin, tall and grey-eyed and proud. He was clad as a rider with a cloak of dark green over a coat of fine mail. On the front of his helm was wrought a small silver star. In his hand he bore a single arrow, black feathered and barbed with steel, but the point was painted red. He sank on one knee and presented the arrow to Theoden. Hail, Lord of the Rohirrim, friend of Gondor, he said. Hergon I am, errand rider of Denethor, who will bring you this token of war. Gondor is in great need. Often the Rohirrim have aided us, but now the Lord Denethor asks for all your strength and all your speed, lest Gondor fall at last. The red arrow, said Theoden, holding it, as one who receives a summons long expected, and yet dreadful when it comes. His hand trembled. The red arrow has not been seen in the mark in all my years. Has it indeed come to that? And what does Lord Denethor reckon that all my strength and all my speed may be? That is best known to yourself, Lord, said Hergen. But ere long it may well come to pass that Minas Tirith is surrounded, and unless you have the strength to break a siege of many powers, the Lord Denethor bids me say that he judges that the strong arms of the Rohirrim would be better within his walls than without. But he knows that we are a people who fight rather upon horseback and in the open, and that we are also a scattered people, and time is needed for the gathering of the riders. Is it not true, Hergon said, that the Lord of Minas Tirith knows more than he says in this message? For we are already at war, as you may have seen, and you do not find us all unprepared. Gandalf the Grey has been among us, and even now we are mustering for battle in the east. What the Lord Denethor may know or guess of all these things I cannot say, answered Hergon. But indeed our case is desperate. My lord does not issue any command to you. He begs you only to remember old friendship and oaths long spoken, and for your own good to do all that you may. It is reported to us that many kings have ridden in from the east to the service of Mordor, from the north to the field of Dagulad. There is skirmish and rumor of war. In the south, the Haradrim are moving, and fear has fallen on all our coastlands, so that little help will come to us thence. Make haste, for it is before the walls of Minas Tirith that the doom of our time will be decided, and if the tide be not stemmed there, then it will flow over all the fair fields of Rohan, and even in the hold among the hills there shall be no refuge. Dark tidings, said Theoden, yet not all unguessed. But say to Denethor that even if Rohan itself felt no peril, still we would come to his aid. But we have suffered much loss in our battles with Saruman the traitor, and we must still think of our frontier to the north and east. As his own tidings make clear, so great a power as the Dark Lord seems to wield might well contain us in battle before the city, and yet strike a great force across the river, away beyond the Gate of Kings. But we will speak no longer of counsels of prudence. We will come. The weapon take was set for the morrow. When all is ordered, we will set out. 10,000 spears I might have sent riding over the plain to dismay of your foes. It will be less now, I fear, for I will not leave my strongholds all unguarded. Yet 6,000 at the least shall ride behind me. For say to Denethor that in this hour the king of the Mark himself will come down to the land of Gondor, though maybe he will not ride back. But it is a long road, and man and beast must reach the end with strength to fight. A week it may be from tomorrow's morn, ere you hear the cry of the sons of all coming in from the north. A week, said Hergen. If it must be so, it must. But you are like to find only ruined walls in 7 days from now, unless other help unlooked for comes. Still you may at the least disturb the orcs and swarthy men from their feasting in the White Tower. At the least we will do that, said Theoden. But I myself am new come from battle and long journey, and I will now go to rest. Tarry here this night. Then you shall look on the muster of Rohan and ride away, the gladder for the sight, and the swifter for the rest. In the morning counsels are best, and night changes many thoughts. With that the king stood up, and they all rose. Go now each to your rest, he said, and sleep well. And you, Master Meriadoc, I need no more tonight, but be ready to my call as soon as the sun is risen. I will be ready, said Merry, even if you bid me ride with you on the paths of death. Speak not words of omen, said the king, for there may be more roads than one that could bear the name. But I did not say that I would bid you ride with me on any road. Good night. I won't be left behind to be called for on return, said Mary. I won't be left, I won't. On repeating this over and over again to himself, he fell asleep. At last in his tent, he was wakened by a man shaking him. Wake up, Master Holbytla, he cried. At the length Mary came out of deep dreams and sat up with a start. It seemed very dark, he thought. What is the matter? He asked. The king calls for you, but the sun has not risen yet, said Mary. No, and will not rise today. Nor ever again. One would think under this cloud, but time does not stand still, though the sun be lost. Make haste. Flinging on some clothes, Mary looked outside. The world was darkling. The very air seemed brown, and all things about were black and grey and shadowless. There was a great stillness. No shape of cloud could be seen, unless it were far away westward, where the furthest groping fingers of the great gloom still crawled onwards, and little light leaked through them. Overhead there hung a heavy roof, sombre and featureless, and light seemed rather to be failing than growing. Mary saw many folk standing, looking up and muttering. All their faces were grey and sad, and some were afraid. With a sinking heart he made his way to the king. Hergon the rider of Gondor was there before him, and beside him stood Norod, now another man, like him, and dressed alike, but shorter and broader. As Merry entered, he was speaking to the king. It comes from Mordor, lord, he said. It began last night at sunset. From the hills of the eastfold of your realm, I saw it rise and creep across the sky, and all night as I rode, it came behind eating up the stars. Now the great cloud hangs over all the land between here and the mountains of shadow, and is deepening. War has already begun. For a while the king sat silent, and last he spoke. So we come to it in the end, he said. The great battle of our time. Um, mm, 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 mm. In which many things shall pass away, but at least there is no longer need for hiding. We will ride the straight way and the open road, and with all our speed. The muster shall begin at once, and wait for no one that tarry. Have you good store in Minas Tirith? For we must ride now in all haste. Then we must ride light, but with meal and water enough to last us into battle. We have very great store long prepared, answered Thurgon. Ride now as light and swift as you may. Then call the heralds, Eomer, said Theoden. Let the riders be marshalled. Eomer went out, and presently the trumpets rang in the hold, and were answered by many others from below. But their voices no longer sounded clear and brave as they had seemed to Merry the night before. Dull they seemed, and harsh in the heavy air. Praying ominously, the king turned to Merry. I am going to war, Master Meriadoc, he said. In a little while I shall take the road. I release you from my service, but not from my friendship. You shall abide here, and if you will, you shall serve the Lady Eowyn, who will govern the folk in my stead. But, Lord, Mary stammered, I offered you my sword. I do not want to be parted from you like this, Theoden King. And as all my friends have gone to the battle, I should be ashamed to stay behind. But you ride on horses tall and swift, said Theoden, and great thought your heart be. You cannot ride on such beast. Then tie me onto the back of one, or let me hang on the stirrup or something, said Mary. It is a long way to run, but run I shall, if I cannot ride, even if I wear my feet off and arrive weeks too late. Theoden smiled. Rather than that, I would bear you with me on Snowmane, he said. But at the least you shall ride with me to Edoras and look on Meadowsalt. For that way I shall go, so far Stubba can bear you. The great race will not begin till we reach the plains. Then Eowyn rose up. Come, Meriadoc, come now, Meriadoc, she said. I will show you the gear that I have prepared for you. They went out together. This request only did Aragorn make to me, said Eowyn, as they passed among the tents. That you should be armed for battle. I have granted this as I could. For my heart tells me that you will need such gear at the end. Now she led Mary to a booth among the lodges of the king's guard, and there an armorer brought out to her a small helm, a round shield, and other gear. No mail we have to fit you, said Eowyn, nor any time for the forging of such hauberk. But here is also a stout jerking of leather, a belt and a knife, for a sword you have. Mary bowed, and the lady showed him the shield, which was like the shield that had been given to Gimli, and it bore on it the device of a white horse. Take all these things, she said, and bear them to good fortune. Farewell now, Master Meriadoc. Yet maybe we shall meet again, you and I. So it was that amid a gathering gloom, the king of the Mark made ready to lead all his riders on the eastward road. Hearts were heavy, and many quailed in the shadow, but they were stern people, loyal to the Lord, and little weeping or murmuring was heard, even in the camp in the hold, when the exiles from Edoras were housed. Women and children and old men, doom hung over them, but they faced it silently. The two swift hours passed, and now the king sat upon his white horse, glimmering in the half light. Proud and tall he seemed. Through the hair that flowed beneath his high helm was like snow, and many marveled at him, and took heart to see him unbent and unafraid. There on the white flats beside the noisy river were marshalled in many companies, well nigh 550 hundreds of riders fully armed, and many hundreds of other men with spare horses lightly burdened. A single trumpet sounded. The king raised his hand, and then suddenly the host of the mark began to move. Foremost went 12 of the king's household men, riders of renown. Then the king followed with Eomer on his right. He said farewell to Eowyn above the hold, and the memory was grievous. But now he turned his mind to the road that lay ahead. Behind him Mary rode on Stribba with the errand riders of Gondor, and behind them again 12 more of the king's household. They passed down the long ranks of waiting men with stern and unmoved faces. But when they had come almost to the end of the line, one looked up, glancing keenly at the hobbit, a young man. Mary thought as he returned the glance, less in height and girth than most. He caught the glint of clear grey eyes, and then he shivered, for it came suddenly to him that it was the face of one without hope who goes in search of death. On down the grey road they went beside the snowborn rushing on the stones, through the hamlets of Underharrow and Upbourne, where many sad faces of women looked out from dark doors, and so without horn or harp or music of men's voices, the great ride into the east began, with which the songs of Rohan were busy for many long lives of men here are thereafter. From Darkton Harrow in the dim morning, with Thane and Captain rode Thingol's son, to Edoras he came. The ancient halls of the Mark Warden's mist enshrouded, golden timber were in gloom mantled. Farewell he bade to his free people, hearth and high seat, and the hollow places where long he had feasted ere the light faded. Forth rode the king, fear behind him, fate before him, fealty he kept he. Oaths had been taken, all fulfilled them. Forth rode Theoden, 5 nights and days eastward, and onward rode the Eolingers, through fold and fen march, and the Frieden wood, 6,000 spears to Sunlending. Mundburg the mighty under Mindulin, Sea King's city in the South Kingdom, foe beleaguered, fire encircled, doom drove them on, darkness took them, horse and horseman, hoofbeats afar, sank into silence. So the songs tell us. It was indeed in deepening gloom that the king came to Edoras, although it was then but noon by the hour. There he halted only a short while, and strengthened his host by some 30 of riders that came late to the weapon take. Now having eaten, he made ready to set out again, and he wished his esquire a kindly farewell, but Mary begged for the last time not to be parted from him. This is no journey for such deeds as Stubba, as I have told you, said Theoden, and in such a battle as we think to make on the fields of Gondor, what would you do, Master Meriadoc, sword thane though you be, and greater of heart than stature? As for that, who can tell, answered Mary. But why, lord, did you receive me as sword thane, if not to stay by your side? And I would not have it said of me in song only that I was the only always left behind. I received you for your safe keeping, answered Theoden, and also to do as I might bid. None of my riders can bear you as a burden. In the battle where before my gates, maybe your deeds would be remembered by the minstrels, but it is 100 leagues and two to Mundburg, where Denethor is lord. I will say no more. Mary bowed and went away unhappily, and stared at the lines of horsemen. Already the companies were preparing to start. Men were tightening girths, looking to saddles, caressing their horses. Some gazed uneasily at the lowering sky. Unnoticed, a rider came up and spoke softly in the hobbit's ear. Where will once not, a way opens, so we say, he whispered, and so I have found myself. Mary looked up and saw that it was the young rider whom he had noticed in the morning. You wish to go whither the Lord of the Mark goes. I see it in your face. I do, said Mary. Then you shall go with me, said the rider. I will bear you before me, under my cloak, until we are far afield, and this darkness is yet darker. Such goodwill should not be denied. Say no more to any man. Yeah, I'm also almost done. Uh, but come. Thank you indeed, said Mary. Thank you, sir, though I do not know your name. Do you not? Said the rider softly. Then call me Durmhelm. Thus it came to pass that when the king set out, before Dunhelm sat Meriadoc the hobbit, and the great grey steed, Windfaller, made little of the burden, for Dunfell was less in weight than many men, though little lithe and well knit in frame. On into the shadow they rode, in the willow thickets where Snowbird flowed into Endwash, 12 leagues east of Edoras. They camped that night, and then on again through the fold and through the fen mark, where to the right great oak woods climbed up the skirts of the hills under the shades of the dark Halifidian by the borders of Gondor. But away to the left the mist lay on the marshes fed by the mountains of Inwash, and as they rode, rumor came of war in the north. Lone men riding wild brought word of foes assailing their eastern borders, of Orchost marching in the world of Rohan. Ride on, cried Yuma. Too late now to turn aside. The fence of Endwash must guard our flanks. Haste now we need. Ride on. And so King Theoden departed from his own realm, and mile by mile the long road wound away, and the beacon's hills marched past. Kalenhat Mindrimhon Irelas Nadol, but the fires were quenched. All the lands were grey and still, and ever the shadow deepened before them, and hope waned in every heart. Okay, so that was the last of today. So let's see if we can go and see someone. I have a person. Earthling, can you please type in the rate message? It's only the sub one we need because I have changed it, so it should be working for everyone. But now we are going to a person called Mabel Cheeks. And this is a person I enjoy spending my time at. So please be nice, do what you want, and then say a good hello to them. And I will see you all next Sunday, and I hope you all have a great week. Bye bye!